Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Sounds like something your doctor would say, right? Funny thing, that line didn't come from a medical breakthrough. It came from marketing and a little moral philosophy. In the late 1800s, John Harvey Kellogg, yes, the cornflakes Kellogg ran a health spa where bland, plant-heavy foods were promoted as virtuous and clean. He championed a structured morning meal, and by the early 1900s, cereal companies took the baton and sprinted. Ads painted breakfast as essential for efficiency and moral vigor. Orange juice got pitched as liquid sunshine, and the message stuck so hard that skipping breakfast felt almost shameful. By mid-century, you had smiling families, clinking bowls, and slogans that glued the idea to our cultural wall. But research doesn't put breakfast on a pedestal as the magic fix for weight loss, sharper focus, or a longer life. Studies that used to prove breakfast eaters were healthier turned out to be tangled with habits. People who eat breakfast also tend to sleep more regularly, smoke less, and eat more fiber. What really matters is the big picture of how you eat and live, not whether you had eggs at 8 a.m. Some people feel great eating first thing, especially if it helps them avoid a mid-morning vending machine raid. Others feel better waiting and prefer a later first meal. Intermittent fasting often means no breakfast, and plenty of folks do just fine on it so long as total nutrition, sleep, and stress are in check. Your body uses energy from what you eat over time, guided by rhythms but not a rigid clock. If you're hungry, eat. If you're not, you can skip it without guilt. Make the pattern work for your life, not the other way around. Speaking of persistent myths, let's talk camels. Picture a camel cresting a dune like a slow-rolling ship, sun blazing, sand shifting under splayed feet. Those humps, not water tanks, they're fat storage up to about 80 pounds of it, basically an emergency pantry for when food is scarce. Camels burn that fat for energy, and a bonus of oxidizing fat is metabolic water as a byproduct, which doesn't hurt in the desert. Their water strategy is different. They're hydration pros. A camel can down around 40 gallons in one go and then go for weeks without another drink. Their bodies are designed to conserve. Oval red blood cells keep flowing even when water is low. They can tolerate dehydration that would flatten other mammals. They let their body temperature swing so they sweat less, and their nostrils and sinuses cleverly trap moisture from exhaled breath to recycle it. Thick eyelashes guard against blowing sand. Long legs keep heat away from the body. The water in the hump thing is pure Hollywood. The real trick is a whole suite of desert superpowers. Now the five senses you learned in school sight, hearing, smell, taste, touch are only the starter pack. Aristotle popularized that tidy list, and it stuck, but it's incomplete. Scientists recognize at least 9 senses, and some argue for 20 plus, depending on how you slice the definitions. Beyond the big five, you've got balance, the vestibular sense in your inner ear that tracks head motion and keeps you upright on staircases. Proprioception, the quiet, constant awareness of where your limbs are, so you can scratch your nose without poking your eye. Thermoception, sensing heat and cold, so you don't grab a pan barehanded. Nociception, pain, your emergency alarm system. And interoception, internal signals like hunger, heartbeat awareness, the urge to breathe, and that subtle cue that says you're anxious before you form the thought. Without those, walking straight, holding a cup, or even staying alive would be dicey. The semicircular canals in your ears, the stretch receptors in your muscles, the temperature and pain detectors in your skin. These are senses too, so when someone says 5 senses, they're leaving out a bunch of crucial ones. Here's a movie-ready misconception. Peeing on a jellyfish sting. Don't. Jellyfish stings come from tiny venom-injecting cells called nematocysts stuck to your skin, and many of those cells can still fire. Depending on its temperature and saltiness, urine can actually trigger more venom release, making the pain worse. A better plan: carefully remove visible tentacles with tweezers or the edge of a card while wearing gloves or using a cloth. Rinse with seawater, not freshwater. Freshwater can make the stingers discharge, and then soak the area in hot water. Heat helps denature the venom proteins and reduces pain. For some species, vinegar helps, but for others it can make things worse, so local lifeguard guidance beats guesswork. If the person has trouble breathing, severe pain, or a sting across the face or throat, get medical help immediately. Skip the dramatic beachside treatment. Your friend will be much happier and less likely to remember you as the pee person. Chameleons aren't out here vanishing into any background like tiny special effects artists. Their color change isn't mainly about camouflage, it's communication and temperature control. Bright, bold colors can signal aggression or courtship. Duller tones often mean calm or leave me alone. To cool off, they lighten up to reflect more heat. To warm up, they darken to absorb it. They pull off these costume changes with specialized skin cells. Iridophories contain tiny, orderly crystals. Think microscopic mirrors that reflect different wavelengths as the lattice spacing shifts. Below that, melanophores adjust the distribution of dark pigment. Together, those layers can create subtle shade shifts or full-on rainbow flashes. A male panther chameleon, for instance, can go from mellow greens to electric blues and fiery yellows in seconds when he spots a rival. Sometimes the palette happens to match the leaves, sure, but the goal isn't invisibility, it's social signaling and thermoregulation with flair. And carrots won't give you night vision superpowers. They're loaded with beta-carotene, which your body converts to vitamin A, and vitamin A is essential for eye health. If someone is severely deficient, carrots can help restore normal vision and prevent night blindness. But they won't let you see in the dark like a superhero. This myth went big during World War II. The British had radar that let them detect enemy planes at night, but they didn't want to reveal the tech. So they publicized stories about ace pilot John Cat's Eyes Cunningham and others with incredible night vision thanks to eating lots of carrots, alongside campaigns urging civilians to grow and eat more carrots during rationing. The cover story worked a little too well and turned into a generational fact. It's charming history, but you still need headlights. Another one that hangs around classrooms: blood is blue in your veins. Human blood isn't blue, it's always red, bright red when it's rich in oxygen, darker red when it's carrying less. Veins look blue through skin because of how light travels and scatters. Skin and tissue absorb and scatter different wavelengths differently. Blue light is scattered back more, so veins appear bluish beneath the surface while deeper red is absorbed. There's no magical color change when blood hits air. It was red already. Now, some creatures really do have blue blood horse, shoe crabs, and certain mollusks use copper-based hemocyanin instead of iron-based hemoglobin. But for humans, blue blood is just a poetic way of saying royalty, not a biology lesson. Let's tackle sleepwalking. You've probably heard that waking a sleepwalker can hurt them. It won't. Sleepwalking usually happens during deep non-REM sleep, so if you do wake them, their brain is basically just switching modes. They might be groggy, disoriented, or startled, and their memory of the episode will be fuzzy. The actual danger is letting them wander into a street, a kitchen full of sharp objects, or down a staircase. Best move, gently guide them back to bed with calm, simple instructions. If that won't work, wake them and keep them safe until they're fully aware. If episodes are frequent, remove tripping hazards, lock doors and windows, and talk to a healthcare professional. Sleep deprivation, stress, fever, and certain medications can make sleepwalking more likely. What about lightning never strikes the same place twice? Lightning isn't sentimental about proverbs. It'll hit the same spot as many times as conditions allow. Tall, exposed structures are frequent targets because lightning takes the easiest path to the ground. The Empire State Building, for example, gets zapped roughly 20 to 25 times every year, sometimes multiple times in one storm. People can be struck more than once. Two-park ranger Roy Sullivan survived 7 separate strikes over his career. If a storm is overhead and you're in the wrong place, lightning may happily make a return visit. The smart move is the usual. Get inside, avoid open fields and lone tall trees, and remember that cars are safe because they act like a Faraday cage, not because of the rubber tires. And the nightmare rumor: we swallow 8 spiders a year in our sleep. Absolutely not. Spiders want nothing to do with your mouth. From their perspective, that warm, wet, vibrating cave full of teeth is a terrible real estate decision. The vibrations from your breathing, snoring, and even your heartbeat tell them to steer clear. They prefer quiet, still corners where they won't be squished. The origin of the myth likely traces back to a 1990s article illustrating how easily false facts spread, ironically proving its own point when the fake spider statistic went viral. The odds of swallowing even one spider in your lifetime are tiny, unless you're doing it on purpose. Rest easy. So, from serial slogans to movie moments, from ancient philosophy to wartime misdirection, a lot of things we know have been repeated so often they sound true. But once you peek at the evidence, plenty of those stories fall apart, and the real stories are usually more interesting anyway. Which one surprised you the most, and what other myth should we bust next?